Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be setting up my July planner pages. I'll be using these stickers from the Dreamy Jellies collection from Hubman and Chubgirl. These are the journal stickers, which are smaller than the regular sheets. I also have these days of the week and date dot stickers shaped like jellies. I'll also be using these Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils and this King Art dot and fine line metallic twin tip marker. This is the dot end and this is the fine tip end, which isn't super fine. I'm starting with the first 4 days of July, which share this spread with the last 3 days of June. I'm using a circle stencil to outline the planner boxes with a purple watercolor pencil. This one is Deep Violet number 760. My idea for this theme is to draw bubbles for the jellies to float in. I'm outlining the rest of the smaller bubbles with a pink watercolor pencil, number 700 Fuchsia. I'm using various different sizes for the bubbles, and some of them will be overlapping and stuck together. I like to have the complete 7 days on each weekly spread, even if the week is split between 2 months. So I don't have space for a monthly cover page, but I am going to create a mini cover / mega header. To create the iridescent rainbow soap bubble effect, I'll be layering the various colors next to each other inside each bubble. I started with the pink watercolor pencil and lightly colored sections roughly on opposite sides of the circle. I tried to make each bubble slightly different, but I am leaving a white oval in the left upper quadrant as a shiny spot, and some of the bubbles also have a linear shiny spot in the lower right quadrant. The next color is green aquamarine, number 1220. I continue placing the color on opposite sides of each circle until the perimeter of each bubble is filled in. After the aquamarine is the purple, which is very pigmented, so I'm trying to use a light hand. Lastly, I drew a few highlights with golden yellow number 230. I tried not to layer the yellow too close to the purple because that would end up looking too muddy. This isn't watercolor paper, so I'm using a Tombow colorless blender marker to activate the watercolor pigment. This eliminates any buckling of the paper from too much moisture. I activate the yellow first and the purple last, so the yellow doesn't blend into the purple and turn brown and muddy. I'll work on one bubble at a time, and if the bubbles overlap, I let the first bubble dry completely before I activate the pigment on the overlapping bubble. I don't want the colors from one bubble to blend in with the other. I'm also trying to use long curved strokes following the shape of each circle. The next 3 spreads for the 3 full weeks of July will have the same basic layout, and I drew the bubbles in the same way, so I'll speed through that part. The first page ended up a little darker than I planned, so I tried to be a little more light-handed in the subsequent spreads. On the last spread, I'm leaving the right page blank. The last day of July is a Friday, and I prefer Sunday start weeklies, so the last 6 days of July will eventually share the spread with the first day of August. I'm using the dot end of the metallic marker to add the July header and the finer tip to add the first letter of each day in the planner bubbles. I decided not to use the days of the week stickers because I thought the rectangular shape didn't fit well with the round bubbles. I chose a metallic marker to add a little shine to the spreads. I'll be using these jelly-shaped date stickers in the functional bubbles next to the day headers. With that done, I'll add the jelly stickers. I also have this sticker coloring book of Hubman and Chubgirl designs from Five Below, which has a few jellies in it. I colored these jellies to match the ones on the sticker sheets, so I could use them on my mega header. Then I sprinkled jellies inside some of the decorative bubbles. You've probably noticed I leave a lot of blank space on my weekly spreads. I call that my flex space. I usually use that space for journaling and memory keeping, but I could use it for habit tracking or to-do lists or anything I need that week. At the end of the month, all of that space will be filled in. I also don't create a monthly calendar because I don't use one. I transfer everything directly from my future log onto my weekly spreads. I decided to go back and add a few more jellies to the mega header and the first half spread. With the weekly spreads done, I flip to the front of the notebook where I have pages set aside for my monthly health tracker spreads. I start by cutting off the edge of the middle page with a craft knife to create a Dutch door, and round the corners with a corner punch. I'm turning the notebook sideways to add the header along the right margin with the same blue metallic marker I used on the weekly spreads. I'm using a notepad as a hand rest, so my wrist doesn't have to sit at an awkward angle. I'm also adding the first 3 letters of July on the little tab I made when I did the initial setup for this notebook. I'm using a purple Zebra Deco Shine gel pen to write the dates 1 through 31 and the first letter of each day down the left side. The Dutch door allows the dates and the header to be visible from any part of the health tracker. I don't decorate my health tracker spreads, but I do try to use colors that match the month's weekly spreads. With the same purple gel pen, I'm creating columns where I will enter the data during the month. Each column is 2 dot grid spaces wide, except for the one on the far right, which is 3 spaces wide. That's where I log the temperature range for each day. When I'm drawing vertical lines, I work from right to left so my ruler doesn't smudge the ink. Along the top, I'm creating header brackets for each column. To give myself more space to write, the top end of each bracket is 3 dots to the right of the base. I used a pink Zebra Deco Shine gel pen to draw horizontal lines between Saturday and Sunday, so I have a visual separation between each week. Turning the page, I will create 2 columns on the page on the left. The first column is where I will log my exercise and activity. The second column is where I will list my morning, evening, and late night medications. The whole page on the right is for notes, where I can write anything that doesn't have its own space. I also add pink lines between each week under the exercise activity column. I label each section with a blue Deco Shine gel pen. Flipping back to the previous page, I will label the first few columns so you can get an idea of what it will look like. I'll label the rest of the columns at the beginning of July because I will sometimes change the things I track from month to month. Now it's time for the final flip through. Starting with the weekly spreads, I think these July weekly spreads are so fun, and I'm happy with how they turned out. These last 6 days of July We'll eventually share this spread with the first day of August. Taking a quick look at my health tracker, I keep all of my monthly health trackers together at the front of the notebook for easy reference. That's all I have for you for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!